Hello everybody, this is Rob Smith here with Epiphany Trading, and this is my first video for Epiphany since being named to Managing Director Technical Research last Friday. Feels good here. I just want to touch on a few quick things that I'm looking for this week, and it's not necessarily the Epiphany method that we like to trade, but if we have just a general idea of what we're looking at for the week, sometimes it's enlightening to have as much information as you can. So I want to start out by looking at the SPY here, and I'm going to move it to a daily. And just some important levels coming up here. As we saw last week, we had this range, and so it's 106, 108, and we saw some violent swings in there. And in the end, it closed up to the higher end of the range. Now, I'm not sure it's going to stay there, but we could see easily, 20 handles down and still be well in this range and still have this hammer being valid on the daily. What's going to be important is if we do take these out to the upside, some important levels to watch are going to be this level here, this gap with the low was 109.51. Will be important if we get there, and depending on what day we get up there, we want to be real careful because we have this downtrend line to contend with. And depends on what day and how it gets up there, whether it's going to match up right with that gap or not. If we get through there, what I wrote in the black was that potentially if this is flat here and this is our inverted triangle, if you will, that if it gets up to this level and breaks through here, that it's back off to the races. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but it's something to keep an eye on because this pattern has been all over the place. And if you see it right here first, it failed right there, and that's when it really got hit. But if it's just one larger pattern, it could still work its way back up there. This hammer's still valid. This range is still good. So there's a lot to keep an eye on there. Just a couple quick names here that give you a better overview of some of the sectors. Where let's take a look at Nucor steel, and you can see in the daily the hammer came back up. But more importantly, if you look at the weekly, going back to April, it's traded in a range between 40 and 50. And now that we're back towards this 40 area, we want to start thinking about the long side on Nucor. And of course that means long side for steels in general, X, AKS, that's TLD, ATI, anything steel related, and metals in general. Although they're not going to trade exactly together, but just something to keep in mind. Real quick, I also would like to take a look at Taco Bell Yum Brands, and you can see how it on my weekly charts the last day shows up and then the week until the week starts. So this is actually just Friday's action, but you can see there's a hammer, weekly hammer on the bottom of this recent range here, the 32 and change level up to 36, and a hammer on the weekly. So we want to keep an eye on the long side of Yum. And another important support line was reached in NASDAQ stock and NDAQ, and you can see this 18 level been very important going all the way back here to the 08. And so we have the 18, and then the first middle of the range, or at least the top of this shortened range, was about 21, and then all the way up here to 23. So if it holds in this 18 level, you could easily see a $3 rally up into there. So this is just a few ideas that I wanted to throw out there, something to keep an eye on, and look for many, 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 many more videos to come. Rob Smith of In the Black and Epiphany Trading, wishing you happy trading.